Got a big climate tree.
Right out here at the center of the floor, the children's wing and all those areas out there, they all have a number, and that.
I guess it don't matter what you do.
They enable you to see things out ahead, and that's what faith does. They enable you to see what you otherwise could not see. By faith, these people live. They have oculars. By faith, oculars. But it's true. And when you walk by faith, you look at the whole world that way. You never see anything the same. When you see a person and you have your by faith oculars on, you don't see that person the same, because you know people can change, and you know that God is at work in lives. When you see the world or your circumstances, with faith you don't look at it the same way. When you look at a lost person, you don't look at them the same way. And when we look at this piece of ground, looking through that lens, we don't look at it the same way. We're going to go to the text out of Hebrews 11 to help us remember a little bit about what's there. By faith, with by faith oculars on, Abel offered a sacrifice to God, and by faith he was commended. By faith Enoch, he's the guy that was taken from this life so he didn't experience death, and God commended him for it. By faith Noah was warned about the rain, and in holy fear he could see what was coming, and he built what? By faith. And by faith Abraham was called to go to a place that he couldn't yet see. But by obedience he did it, and by faith he made his home in the promised land. And by faith, even though he and Sarah were older than dirt, God made a promise, Abraham banked on it, and God came through. What more shall we say? We want to say that we're going to take our place in the lineage with those who walk by faith, because we see some things just as they did. It carries right down into our own day, to 1824. When by faith a handful of disciples said, very nearby here, we need a church in this area. Not just any church, but a church that has no creed but Christ, a church that has no book but the Bible, a church where we can come together around Jesus Christ, celebrate the Lord's Supper, preach His Word, and make more and better disciples. And by faith, they met together and they grew. And by faith, they finally built a building, a little log cabin that they met in until they filled it. And then they said, by faith, we're going to build a bigger building to welcome more people. Aren't you glad they made that decision?
Amen.
They did that decision by faith. They said, we're going to reach out. And then they built that white clapboard building. And guess what? They filled it again. And by faith, they said, we're going to do it all over. What mountain is all over. They built what today we call Walker Chapel. By faith, they continued to grow. And by faith, in 1970, they built an educational wing. And by faith, we have built a sanctuary we worship in today. And by faith, we have continued to step forward doing the Lord's work, making more and better disciples, welcoming more and more people, until we find ourselves today standing in a place that is both scary and very familiar and comfortable. It's scary because it's our turn now. It's our turn to step up and go where we can't yet fully see, but where we will only go by faith. And it's comfortable because we've seen it before in our forebears and in those in the Hall of Faith who've gone before us. And that's why, as Paul said, by faith we formed that long-range planning committee. That's why by faith we purchased 17 acres. And that's where by faith we developed a site plan. And by faith that Treffinger property fell from God's hand into our laps. And by faith, even though they said it was financially difficult times in our nation, by faith we committed $4.6 million on this project when they said it couldn't and wouldn't and shouldn't happen. But it did happen. You know how it happened?
By faith.
By faith. Double. 1, 2, 3.
We step forward by faith.
Yeah. Amen.